Good morning and welcome to the Saturday special of Dr. Lamba's Awakening Course. We are midway in the month of Ramzan, which is a Romanized form of Ramzan, is Ramadan. And it's spelled differently Ramadan, Ramdan. And it's basically the ninth month of the Islamic calendar. And Muslims worldwide celebrate it, or rather observe it as a month of fasting, swam, prayer, reflection, and community. And it's a commemoration of Muhammad's first revelation. The annual observance of Ramadan is considered to be one of the 5 pillars of Islam. And this month lasts from 29 to 30 days, from one sighting of the moon to the next. Etymologically, the word is, of course, as usual for the Islam, derived from Arabic word. And Arabic is, as I said, Ramadan, and that is basically the root. Of course, it was anglicized as they could not pronounce Ramazan. The word Z is not in the word. The Arabic roots are RMD, and the meaning is scorching heat. It's a classical Arabic verb called ramida. Ramida means becoming intensely hot, burning, scorching, blazing, glowing. Ramadan is thought as one of the names of God in Islam by some, and is reported in many hadiths that it is prohibited to say Ramadan in reference to calendar year alone. You have to say the month of Ramadan. You just can't say it's Ramadan, but normally now it's just it's Ramadan. In the Persian language, the Arabic letter that is pronounced as Za, and that's why people in Islam, like people and other people in India, Pakistan, which were having more of Persian impact than the Arabian impact, call it Ramazan. Now, it's obligatory for all adult Muslims who are not acutely or chronically ill, or are traveling, or are elderly, breastfeeding ladies, diabetics, the ladies are menstruating, to observe it. The pre-dawn meal is called Sahar. The nightly feast which breaks the fast is called Iftar. And fatwas have been issued declaring the Muslims who live in the regions with midnight sun or polar night should follow the timetable of Mecca. But it's a common practice to follow the timetable of the closest country where you can distinguish between the day and the night. The spiritual rewards of Ramazan are supposed to be huge. And during this period, the Muslims refrain not only from food and drink, but also from tobacco, sexual relationship, sinful behavior, and they devote themselves instead to salat, that's prayer, and the study of Quran. The month of Ramadan is that which was revealed Quran. Quran was revealed this month. It's a guidance to mankind. And whosoever you is present, let him fast for the month, says Quran. He desired not hardship, But you should complete this period and you should magnify Allah for having guided you and perhaps through you to other people. Muslims hold that all scriptures are revealed during Ramadan. The scrolls of Abraham, Torah, Psalms, Gospel and Quran have been handed down in the first, 6th and 12th and the 13th in the same source of the 18th and the 12th, 4th Ramadan. And Muhammad is said to have received his first Quranic revelation, one of the 5 odd number nights that fall during the last 10 days of Ramadan. The Muslims' first command here, the first command to observe the fast was given in the 2nd year of Hijrah, when Hazrat Muhammad left Makkah for Medina. It was called Hijrat. So in the 2nd year, that is 624 years AD, and the practice of fasting is not an innovation of monotheism. You know it. Fasting has been there in every religion, and it has rather been a practice observed by the polytheistic religions like Hinduism and lot. But the most important thing is that here the believers believe under the fear of God called taqwa is the supreme. This is a time when you have to be God-fearing. Now this concept, I feel to understand, why fear God? Is God a police inspector and a police constable that you should be afraid of? No. It's loving God. So why be afraid? Be respectful. The Islamic pagans of Mecca before Hazrat Muhammad used to fast on the 10th day of Muharram to expiate sin and avoid drought. And that's an opinion of Philip Jenkins. He argues that the practice initially was only for the early period, but that's wrong. Originally the practice is for the whole month, is very clearly mentioned. But one thing is sure, that the whole practice has its origin in the Lent, the fasting of the Lent period in Christianity. So here the Abrahamic religions have overlapping rituals and customs. In the strict Lenten discipline of the Syrian church was where the roots of Ramadan took place. And this is accepted by many scholars, theologians, but it's disputed by the Muslim academics. Naturally, they would not accept something which does not show its originality. Now, with the advent of Ramzan, Muslims all over the world prepare themselves for the month-long festival of, I'll call it love, kindness, and spirituality. Fasting, as I said, is one of the 5 pillars of Islam. The others are Salah, there's a prayer, Hajj, there's visitation to Mecca, Zakat, there's charity. And perhaps the most visible manifestation of the month of Ramadan is, as I said, abstaining from food, even water, even saliva you should not swallow in. The very, very hardcore Muslims. Then you are not to have physical relations with your spouse. You can't smoke. And the period lasts, as I said, from dawn to sunset. But is the month just about hunger and thirst? Is it just about cleaning the body? Or is it beyond that? Why would God, who is self-sufficient and needless, require us to fast and abstain from acts which are otherwise permitted in all other months? The answer to this has been explicitly provided in Quran. These are valid questions, undoubtedly. And the answers are in the responses of Prophet Muhammad and his family. For example, Surah 2, verse 183 says, O believers, fasting is prescribed for you, as it is for those before you. So perhaps you will become mindful of Allah. So it's not for itself. The purpose is to be mindful of Allah. The verse outlines the purpose of fasting is for individual effort. And the purpose is to reflect on life, relationship with Almighty, recognize the bounties that have been bestowed by God, and most important, to be thankful for those bounties, gratitude. Fasting must yield self-restraint, humility, compassion, and that is, if that's not there, that is of no value. The religion is very clear that the people who are fasting should conduct themselves in a calm and restrained manner, refrain from quarreling or obscene language. And the Prophet himself says, fasting is a protective shield. When a person is fasting, he must not observe or indulge in any obscenity or vulgarity. If somebody fights with him or verbally abuses him, his response should be, I am fasting and not fighting. There is a story that a woman was abusing her neighbor while fasting, and this was brought to the notice of Prophet. He clearly stated that her fast is of no value in the eyes of God. Now, interestingly, all this fight that Imran had and his use of abusive language was in fact a negation of Ramzan. And he says that he is going to bring the Helicon days of Medina back. Charity and kindness to the people are emphasized in this month to raise the spiritual content of the human beings. And people are persuaded to share whatever they have with others. Prophet Muhammad very clearly said, with your thirst and hunger remind yourself, then think of the judgment day. If you give charity to the people, poor, destitute, pay respect to the elders, be kind to the children, and observe the bonds of relationship with your family. So this emphasis on family is the most important aspect. Closeness. And family then extends from a nuclear family to a joint family to a tribe to the world as a whole. Imam Sadiq, the grandson of Prophet Muhammad, said, God made fasting obligatory to equalize the poor and the rich. Surely the poor would not have imagined, and the rich could not empathize with them. But when they are fasting, then they empathize, a sense of empathy, which I always talk about. And the month of Ramzan is also about reforming yourself, building character, fostering discipline, and each thing is what is required. Imam Sadiq puts it. Fasting does not merely mean that a human being should not eat and drink. No. Rather, when you fast, then your ears, eyes, tongue, stomach, and private parts also must fast. So hear no evil, speak no evil, see no evil, eat no evil, drink no evil, and no sex. It's a month of mercy and forgiveness and gratitude. As much as it is emphasized to seek forgiveness from God, it is also extremely important to be magnanimous and forgive the mistakes of the others. That is the true spirit of the festival of God. And that's why I say that what happened in Pakistan was a negation of the spirit of. And then the same thing is happening all over. People observe the fast all right, but the reality of the fast, the reality of the observance, the concept of empathy, which are gratitude, which are important aspects of the religion, are ignored. That's a tragedy of all religions. That's a tragedy of all good actions which ultimately degenerate into rituals and are devoid of the reality. The celebration of human beings, the efforts to make them better, is the purpose of most of the holy days, including Ramzan. But does it remain so? It should. Aim is good, but then the selfish motives always overtake the real thing. And that's a tragedy of the human beings. It's better to understand the real purpose, and then the observance of this month would be character building, human being becoming better, reaching sublimation point where they are one with God and one with cosmos. And that is really Ramzan. Thank you.